Welcome to the big leagues, our third and final act. The big talk is a much more complex and detail-oriented scene to shoot and piece together, similar to what you would actually have to do to create your own green screen magic from scratch. Everything we've been learning in Act 1 and 2 was just to prepare us for what we're about to do here in Act 3. Are you ready for it? In this lesson, we are going to review the act and give you an idea of what work lies ahead. I will also show you how to build your stage so that you're ready to present your big talk. So let's dive in and start bringing this new world to life.
Okay, welcome to Act 3, The Big Talk. Congratulations on being invited to be a keynote speaker here at The Big Talk. It's a really amazing opportunity for us to get clear on what we're doing and if this ever happened, what would we actually be presenting? So we've got a lot to do for this. This is a much larger scene than the last two. The last two were really just setting the stage and essentially teaching the magic tricks required to pull this next scene off. I'm really excited to be showing you the ropes here. And well, let's get started. So we've got the big talk. The future belongs to artists, entrepreneurs of the world. Right on. So you can see here, this is essentially the scene, how it's been edited together. It's 4.5 minutes long. And these pieces are all different angles. We even have another angle into the crowd, long shots, close-ups, and then the third shot. Creates a very realistic experience. We've got some camera movement as well to simulate as if there's cameras recording this live. So that'll be fun when we get to that stage. We'll be learning how to composite the background, putting it together with the pieces that we can find. And what else? Yeah, that's essentially it. We've got some text here at the beginning. And a nice intro, some audience applause. We were essentially going for the look of TED Talks, if you didn't get that already, since it's very big in pop culture today. I figured we'd have fun. What kind of talk did we want to be on? So we got to create it. So this is what we're going to be working with. Now, a few key things to just quickly talk about here is we're going to be working full body shot. As you can see, Brad is complete from head to toe, standing here to get this shot. Now, if you're not capable of getting that full body shot, since maybe limitations of your studio, getting your camera back far enough, or your green screen isn't large enough, then we do have an option for you to work with too. But the challenge is definitely to get that full body shot, which will bring into your e-courses a real level of realism and being able to put you into scenes that you wouldn't be able to normally if you were just a fraction of your body. So let's get started. The first lesson here, we're going to just focus on getting the background put together, compositing this background. So I already have here my supplied folder inputted into my Green Screen Magic project. And yeah, so what we're going to do is just click on Act 3. We're going to come down, new sequence. I want a 1080p full-size sequence. I'm just going to type in background. Great. Actually, I'm going to add an Act 3 background just in case this gets moved. I know what it is. Good. And now it's opened up here. And we're going to start by just dragging over our big talk background. There we go. So I'm going to zoom in, extend. Since this is a JPEG, a still image, we can move that to any length that we require. So this is a nice background that we found off of Adobe stock images. Having a subscription to at least one stock image site is highly recommended. You'll be able to get many images, backgrounds, pieces that you can start putting together to create your own custom worlds. And since we are in the business of, well, since we're just in business, I would not recommend taking anything off of Google Images that is not yours to use. That's a copyright issue, and you can get in a lot of trouble that way. So paying for your images, a couple dollars here and there, is definitely worth it. All right, so we've got this nice background here. Kind of sets the stage. Now let's bring in our rug, red rug. Here we go, popping that in. All right, so we need to place that down. Oh, we're still on the background. So red rug, placing it down. Gonna make it a little bit bigger, like so. Okay. Yeah, a big part of making your worlds and this green screen magic course is finding the suitable backgrounds to create your world. I have to admit, it probably has taken me a couple days at least before we started even shooting to accumulate the imagery that I wanted to use for green screen magic. The same went with the Great E-Course Adventure and even our outer space webinar. And so don't get discouraged. When you first have an idea in your mind of what you want to do, I highly suggest just spending a week or so just going online, trying to find all the images, taking all the samples you can, putting it in a folder, and that's going to help you flesh out exactly what you want to do and what you can do. Because a big part of this is often we're limited to what is already out there. Unless you have the skills to illustrate your own backgrounds and create that, then we might be more limited. But what's fun is putting them together. So as you can see, so we've got this background that we got off of stock. This red rug was part of another image that wouldn't have worked, but yet I've cropped it out using Adobe Photoshop, which is a very valuable tool to get used to, because then you can start creating your own images and pieces and start piecing together your most amazing backgrounds. So we've got this rug here, yet now that it's in here, I can notice I have a little bit of a purpley indigo color, as you can see, around the rug here. So that's just because that was more of what the color looked like in the room that this rug comes from. So what I want to do is get rid of that. So if we go over to coloring, so I'm just going to go over to my color screen. So basic colors, what we're actually going to go down to is curves. We're going to go down to curves, and so since this is a bluey color, even though purple kind of exists with red and blue, if we remove all this blue, then it's going to just turn red. So what we want to do is go to curves, come over to the blue channel, and then click this line and bring it all the way down. Just get rid of that blue. As you can see, the opposite would bring it all that blue. We don't want that. We want to get rid of it. So I'm just going to get rid of all that blue. Perfect. And that makes that rug a lot nicer for our scene. Going back over to my editing window. Good. Bring that back to fit. That's looking pretty good for now. And next up is our screen. So a big part of what we're going to teach here in Act 3 is learning how to put slides and those sort of images into your shot, which is fairly simple. What we're going to do for this scene is bring in our projector screen. So here we go, we'll drop that in. Again, this is actually from another picture that I've already cropped out just for simplicity. These are things that, again, you'll be doing on your own as you create your own backgrounds. But just to speed up the lesson, this is how we're going to do it. So I'm just going to lift it up, make it a little smaller. There, so it looks kind of like as if it was a big stage. Looking pretty good. Something looks a little off center. Maybe it's my rug, or is it my screen? We can fix that as we go. There we go. All right, so we've got a background. Now, to create a little bit of realism, one of the things I love to do is create a little bit of a blur to simulate the camera's depth of field. So if you are a photographer, then you might already understand depth of field. Essentially, if I have a subject up close and I bring it into focus, often things in the background start becoming out of focus. So that's the idea that we're wanting to simulate here. So we're going to type in blur in our effects. And the one that I like to use isn't actually camera blur, it's Gaussian blur. For some reason this one just seems to look the nicest. You can try the other ones out, but we're just going to use that, pull it down to here. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit just to get a good eye for it and start pulling this across nice and slow. Now it doesn't take much. You can see right around 4 already looks pretty good. All right, actually let's bring it back to fit and look. Yeah, 4, maybe 5. Let's bring 5 in. Good, so it just pulls it a little bit out of focus. Turn that effect off. You can see it nice and sharp. Just a little bit. Helps represent that depth of field look. And we're going to do the same with our projector screen because it's in the same distance from our subject, which will be you standing on this mat. So Gaussian blur over to the projector screen and do the same. We'll just pull it over until we get just a smidge of blur. There we go. We can zoom in, look. Yeah, that looks like about the same as if it's the same distance away. Again, 5 is all it takes. So the rug we're going to keep in focus because that is essentially going to be the same distance from our simulated camera lens to where you're standing. So there we go. That's looking pretty darn good. We're going to pull this over. Now, since this is about a 4 to 5 minute scene, I'm going to zoom out and pull these all the way across to about 5 minutes. It's about just over 5 minutes. So we've got enough space. There we go. Now we've got our background. Great. So let's start. There we go. We've got our background. So there you have it. This is pretty much where we're going to leave off just for this lesson. We'll be talking a little bit more about the shots in the next lesson, where I'll give you some pointers on how to light your scene, where to place your teleprompters, because it's not necessarily going to be directly in front of your camera, and how to kind of get that sort of TED Talk look when we are presenting in front of the camera. All right, so we'll see you there.